My brother, where are you going? It's going to be the question for just a thought today. It's essential need for us to know as men that we're constantly moving forward towards a vision. And the problem we have is so many things that are being taught and so many things we're going through are just the starting block. And if you don't understand how they fit into the bigger picture, then you get stuck at the starting gate. So forgive me today, I've got a little music conflicting. Hopefully it's not too loud. I am going to be reading for some notes, so pardon me if I'm looking down, but I want to just share some really great thoughts. I had time to put this together. The journey in life, we find ourselves at that crossroad, the question where we're going. And it's really not about the destination. It's about what are we doing in the journey? Where does what we're doing today fit in the journey towards our bigger vision, our dream, our life, our thing that gives us passion, gets us up in the morning? It's having a clear vision for where this is all taking us is the difference from living in mere existence or living every day with that sense of fulfillment and purpose, because we know where it's taking us and it gets us excited. What I want to talk about is when I talk about these things that leave us at the starting gate, there's a lot of teaching that goes on in men's development that only answer one aspect of it. And I get this, my teachings usually come from either things I'm getting as feedback from guys or what I'm going through in my own life. But one of the things I hear a lot is guys who maybe they study pickup artists and they're learning how to have that sparking interest, gaining attraction, and trying to build a memorable impression. All of that is great training, and we need that to beginning. But then they call me and go, okay, I got her interest. Now what? And it's like, where's the teaching for how to take it from I got her attention into creating a relationship? And I've been very fortunate. I've had a lot of fun with clients down through the years. One, in fact, was a guy who'd never dated anybody at all, but he had scientifically and put his life together. So he got his career going, bought his house, and now it's time to find the woman. And then he's finding out, well, women have been dating for a while. They're looking for somebody who has the instincts to be able to take them into a relationship experience, because they can't do that for themselves. It does require male leadership. So I want to talk a little bit about that, or even things that have deep meaning. For instance, I have really been fascinated with people who are in what they call the Enlightenment movement. And that's whether it's through your church or through these Enlightenment communities, they're discovering that, we are more than just this flesh and blood. We are, eternal beings, and there's deep meaning in that. There's peace in finding that place of serenity, understanding we're something bigger. But often in those groups, it seems like their end goal is simply to end some pain and suffering and just enter a state of bliss, a bliss state. And it's the same question. So, okay, once you're in bliss state and you find healing, okay, now what do you do with your life? And the end goal is just not to enter into a state of just like bliss or great, now I can get a girl's attention. I have more confidence in that. It's like, well, how does that fit into the bigger picture of your life? In getting out of just being what I call at the starting gate, being stuck at initial stages, it's all of those are significant and helpful. But the journey is where we gain our freedom, because the journey is where is it taking us. So I want to offer 3 things today, tips and highlighting this in the beginning of the new year on how to take where you are, what you're learning now, and how to fit it into a bigger picture. To answer that question, well, where are you going with all of this? And so number 1, crystallize the vision for your dream life. So the next step is obviously having that crystal vision, and it becomes sort of the North Star, the guiding direction that you're going. But even more than that, you're putting resources to work for yourself. You're training your subconscious to be looking for those. So let me explain how this works. I've given this advice many times, and it's sometimes good to do it several times in your life. As things shift and change, you grow and mature, and you decide that this is a shift that's important to me now that I've learned these things. And I'll never forget this. When I was in my early 20s, I ended up hearing from one of these motivational speakers I was listening to, who suggested creating not just your short-term plans and your intermediate ones, but what are the decades of your life categorized by? What are the major things you would do? So I started taking them, from the rest of my 20s, then in my 30s and 40s and 50s, and then 60 and beyond. What would categorize what those decades of my life will look like? And, so as I put those down, to refine 20s, refining skills, finding out what I love and where I fit in the marketplace, 30s is taking those and really creating abundance, maybe starting a business. 40s was then becoming an expert in my business where I'm recognized in my field and writing a book. And my 50s was about becoming a mentor or somewhat of a guru to industries or to people based on what I'd learned. And my 60s and beyond was to be the sage, the wise one, to bring that. And it's funny about as I listed details in each of those, what I might accomplish those decades, when I reflected back and I just literally found this list like almost 25 years later, 20 years later, I had accomplished everything I'd put down in that order through those next 20 years of my life, with the exception of one. When I had my 50s that I would run for political office, and I just realized when I got in my 50s, I'm a little wiser. I decided that's really not something I want to do. So it's okay to say that's not part of the goal. But again, I cast a vision for myself. And so somewhere in my subconscious, even though I hadn't seen that list in 5, 10, 20 years, my subconscious had heard that and where my excitement was for those things and had guided me towards making those things happen. I do the same thing with high performance coaching for men and in the dating world as well. I say, take this exercise, imagine your life 5 years from now in the future, and you're with the woman you want, you have the relationship you want, you're living where you want, you're doing things you love. And what does it look like? And journal a day in your life from the time you wake up on the pillow. Who's next to you? What does it feel like? What do you do for breakfast? Where do you live? What's your house look like? What are you doing during your day? How do you keep connected with your lady? What's your interaction life? Your playful banter, however you guys are together. Who are the people in your life? What are you doing in the evening together? And all the way through till you fall asleep that night for this life that excites you. And now once you have that, what I found is it does the same thing. It actually, without you even knowing it, because you created something and wrote it out this day in the life and you lived it vividly with some emotion, your subconscious goes to putting those pieces together to make that happen. And so it helps you actually getting there by doing this effort. So the first step is to visualize in vivid detail that ideal life you want. So you'll understand that what you're doing today is actually moving towards that. And you'll actually put yourself on autopilot towards making that happen. Number 2, list the elements necessary to bring it together. Okay, so now you have this vision, and your next step is to identify the elements that you're going to need, the people you're going to need to have in your life, the resources, the skills you're going to have to acquire, and that becomes your roadmap, your daily blueprint for today. Check these boxes, and each of those things incrementally compound and grow into creating that life you want. So what are the things you need to add to yourself? And this is where you come back to, okay, if you're learning, approach skills, if you're learning, how to find peace and through whatever you're doing, whatever they are, how do those pieces lead into that bigger vision? And then number 3, list your internal inventory. So these are the things that you have as strengths, that are good about you. You list the things areas where you need growth. And even more important are list the different things that are creating resistance within yourself that need to be addressed. Self-awareness is that critical component of personal development. And I always love that about guys when I'm coaching, because the guy will detail for me where he's at, what he'd like to really get done, what he'd like to have fixed. And I compliment so many guys. I go, half the battle is self-awareness, to understand what you need fixed, what you'd like it to look like on the other side. And then coaching has become so much easier than to give practical strategies and tips for how to make that happen. And if you'd like to know more about personal coaching with me, I do that and do one-on-one. And typically just for a short period of time to overcome or get a roadmap of exactly what you need. So shoot me an email, dcromanceforme@gmail.com, and I'd love to chat with you about making that happen for you on a one-on-one basis. Putting it all in perspective now, you see where you're going today, how it leads to the big vision. It's the alignment that ensures the consistency of you moving forward towards becoming the man of your dreams, living the life of your dreams. And in doing so, you can compartmentalize this and put this into this formula. We talk about this over and over again, and I'll never stop beating it up because I think it's such a great framework. And I got it from Dr. Robert Glover, is like that attractive man is someone who's comfortable in his own skin. Means he's good. He likes himself. He doesn't need somebody else's approval. Number 2 is that he knows where he's going. And number 3, he's having fun along the way. So having these pieces put together, these three elements, gives you just confidence, direction, joy in what you're doing every day. And having a clear vision and moving forward to your purpose embodies all of these things. So you can answer the question when somebody says, where are you going? He says, I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. And that's the place you want to live every day of your life. So let me offer you some reflection questions today to ask yourself as we wrap this up. Do you have a crystallized vision for your dream life? And what does that look like? If you have it, what steps can you take towards building that vision? What are the pieces you need? Number two, what are the necessary elements to move towards that vision? You have people, skills, resources, actionable steps you can do a little bit every day. And then three, what current strengths do you have that you can leverage to your own advantage? I hope that really helps to answer the question, and so you can feel good knowing in yourself, I know where I'm going. And with that, strength and honor, my brothers. I look forward to talking to you in the next one. Have a great day.